Hello and namaskar दोस्तों, welcome back to the channel again for Indian discussion, Indian football discussion, sorry, Indian discussion नहीं but Indian football के discussion के बारे में and definitely आज एक काफी important development हुआ है, उसके बारे में बातचीत करेंगे और हमारे साथ अर्नव सर जुड़े हैं. So how are you sir, and your first thought on this latest development on Kalyan Chaubey's no confidence motion?
Yeah, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are in the world. And there's been a lot of chatter, a lot of talk for the last 2-3 months that people within the federation are unhappy. People in the state association are unhappy. People are seeing the results or the non-performances of Indian teams across the board, the problems we saw around the I-League, appointments of national coaches. Nobody knows how, when, where, coaches are being appointed. So there's a lot to talk about, but I think the biggest danger I see is, the whole FSDL situation. I know a lot of people report, "Arey, baat ho raha hai, this, that, and everything." And I talk to people and say, no, there's no real communication happening. And that is my biggest fear. If FSDL, for example, pull out, what happens to the ISL? And we know how the AIFF runs the I-League or IWL, So therefore, if they pull out, there's even bigger question marks in regard to Indian football.
बट सर, इसमें जैसे आपने एफएसडीएल वाला केस बताया और पिछले 2 साल का जो रिजिम रहा है कल्याण चौबे का, मतलब चाहे कोई भी मैटर हो, जैसे आपने कोच की अपॉइंटमेंट बोली या फिर ईगो स्टिमेज वाला सिचुएशन जो कॉन्ट्रैक्ट का था, या फिर इवन साजी प्रभाकरण को भी जो उन्होंने जिस तरह से निकाला, फिर कोर्ट अभी भी वो केस कोर्ट में है, या फिर एनी अदर मैटर कि जो एक आप अब बोलते हैं ना कि एडमिनिस्ट्रेटिव नॉलेज या फिर किस तरह से सिस्टम को रन करना है. मैं ये नहीं बोलूंगा कि कल्याण चौबे की इकलौते का फेलियर है, बट ऑब्वियसली ही इज द फेस ऑफ द एएफएफ एज अ प्रेसिडेंट, एंड एक फॉर्मर प्लेयर यहाँ पे बन के प्रेसिडेंट बन के आए थे, तो लोगों की जो उम्मीदें थी या फिर लोगों को लग रहा था कि नहीं भाई कुछ अब यहाँ पे उस तरह के डिसीजन इंडियन फुटबॉल के फेवर में डिसीजन लिए जाएंगे. बट हाउ एट द मोमेंट व्हाट इज द सिचुएशन ऑफ द एएफएफ हाउस, एंड किस तरह से चीजें यहाँ पे जिस तरह से मिसमैनेज हुई है, उससे आपको लगता है कि नॉट ओनली हिम बट बाकी लोग भी यहाँ पे मतलब जो है वो भी उतने ही रिस्पॉन्सिबल है?
100%. I think a lot of people who are now playing the saviors of Indian football have been involved in 2022 in getting us into this mess. I can say that I'm one of the few people who can look in the mirror and say I tried to avoid the ban. Most of the people forced us into the ban, and these are also the people who are now trying to say, "Arey bhai, we were trying to save Indian football." So these are realities, right? This is the problem of if Indian football was being run as well as people talk or say it is or has been, then we would be somewhere else. Then we would be playing World Cups. We would not be bothering qualifying for the AFC Asian Cup. Our junior teams would be great. Our grassroots, our youth football, and that's the reality. That's the brutal reality at the moment, that nobody wants to accept that we have problems at all levels across the board, and everybody involved. Even I don't take you out, I don't take myself out, I don't take anybody out in the chat, even the fans. Everybody has a small role to play in the betterment of Indian football. And if we don't do it, all of us, Indian football will go down even further than where we are at the moment.
एग्जैक्टली एंड जो ये मतलब जो एज पर दी हिंदुस्तान टाइम्स रिपोर्ट कि भाई मोर देन 20 स्टेट अफेयर्स ऑफिशियल्स, इट माइट बी प्रेसिडेंट और सेक्रेटरी, दे आर नॉट हैप्पी द वे कल्याण चौबे रिजिम इज गोइंग ऑन. बट अगर आप देखेंगे कि जिस तरह का स्ट्रक्चर है एएफएफ का एट द मोमेंट, तो उसमें कहीं ना कहीं जो आपके मान जी की एक्सको में मेंबर है या फिर बाकी जो कमिटीज है, उसमें कहीं ना कहीं वहां से भी लोग आ रहे हैं, तो उनकी अकाउंटेबिलिटी का क्या सीन है? मतलब आप लोग यहाँ पे नो डाउट इतना इजीली इनके ऊपर वो लगा रहे हो बैन, एंड जैसे आपने बोला कि 2022 में ये लोग इंडिया को बैन देने के लिए यहाँ पे काम कर रहे थे ताकि वो लोग पावर में आ पाए. ये उनका मोटिव था. ऐसा नहीं था कि भाई चलो प्रफुल्ल पटेल के रिजिम को हटा के हम यहाँ पे इंडियन फुटबॉल का कुछ अच्छा कर लेंगे. उनका मोटिव था कि भाई इनको हटा के हमको पावर चाहिए. और ये लोग जब पावर में आए तब हमने ये देखा कि भाई ये लोग तो उनसे भी बदतर है. इन लोगों को तो उनसे भी यहाँ पे क्या बोलते हैं कि इंडियन फुटबॉल को खराब सिचुएशन में लाके खड़ा कर दिया है कि जहाँ पे आपकी नेशनल टीम के सीनियर नेशनल टीम के अलावा यहाँ पे मेंस की कहीं पे भी आपके परमानेंट कोचेस नहीं है, जैसे आपने बाकी सिचुएशन बताई रिगार्डिंग यूथ फुटबॉल एंड एवरीवेयर, हम यहाँ पे पिछले 2 साल में डिक्लाइन ही हुआ है। सो व्हाट अबाउट देम कि ये लोग यहाँ पे कल्याण चौबे को चलो नो कॉन्फिडेंस मोशन के थ्रू हटा दोगे, लेकिन व्हाट अबाउट द अदर पीपल कि जो अभी भी सिस्टम में बने ही रहेंगे। तो अगर
Hiren, the
न्यू प्रेसिडेंट
problem, uh,
तो भी दिक्कतें आपकी सेम रहने वाली है।
the problem is the question of accountability. At the end of the day, I think there is a lack in the whole system of Indian football accountability. Everybody needs to ask him or herself what he or she is doing. I know a lot of people who do good work, no doubt about it, right, in their small little field. But a lot of people don't see the overall picture. Because to me, the very most important thing is if Indian football is successful, then the whole ecosystem grows. I know that there are certain people who want to keep the situation as it is because it secures their own future in the system. And I tell a story today. The late Priyaranjan Dasmunsi once said to me in Berlin on the night before the 2006 World Cup final, Ronavo, we want the things to say as they are because then otherwise people like you come in and professionalize Indian football. He said that to me in 2006. That is the reality
20
of
साल पहले
2025. 25, the same problem exists, and it's not a question of politicians. It's the same with our business people. It's with the bureaucrats. Sorry. If I want to, I can hit out, and I'll have in Delhi and in Mumbai next week. I will have certainly, even though I'm coming for another sport, but I'll have surely some football conversation as well. I will be watching some football, and most of the people know what's happening. Most of the people know, but they're happy in their all small little world. Chal raha hai to, I'm getting my salary, and why bother about the big thing? That is the other problem. There is no ambition. There is a lack of knowledge and understanding and desire. And that can only happen if we have the right leadership. If at the top, you have the right person to lead the AIFF, to lead Indian football, and not put a vision on paper, but actually sell a vision which can be implemented, which can be followed, and take all stakeholders along. You will not be able to take all along, but take at least most along. That is the only way that we can improve Indian football, because otherwise we go back into the situation, chal rahe to hai na. And this is the problem. We also go back in history. Oh, we were great. We were this, we were that. No, listen, football around the world is defined by one thing. How many times have you played in the World Cup? Very simple. And there, India in men's and women's football is a big zero.
बट द बिग क्वेश्चन इज सर कि जो मतलब आपने जैसे डिफाइन किया कि जैसे अगर आपको जज करना है फुटबॉल को तो आप आपके कंट्री ने कितनी बार खेला है वो है, बट अगर आप इंडियन फुटबॉल के प्रॉब्लम्स की बात करें तो ऑब्वियसली द मनी इज वन ऑफ द बिग फैक्टर, एंड आपको आपको भी पता है कि विथआउट दैट देयर इज ए वेरी पर्टिकुलरली इन कंट्री लाइक इंडिया की जहाँ पे काफी सारी चीजें करना बहुत मुश्किल है। अगर आप जो हम बात करते रहते हैं विदाउट दैट इज वेरी वेरी डिफिकल्ट। सो कल्याण चौबे उस एंगल में भी कहीं ना कहीं यहाँ पे फेल ही हुए हैं कि जो मतलब एज ए प्रेसिडेंट आप एक्सपेक्ट करते हो अपने फेडरेशन की कि भाई वो कहीं से भी चाहे वो गवर्नमेंट हो चाहे प्राइवेट प्लेयर हो कि वहां से वो अपने रिलेशन के थ्रू या फिर इन वॉट एवर मैनर यहाँ पे इंडियन फुटबॉल में पैसा लेके आ पाए। सो हाउ डू यू सी दैट एस्पेक्ट ऑफ मनी कि भाई चलो कोई नया प्रेसिडेंट जो आए चलो बाकी चीजों में अच्छा नहीं हो लेकिन एटलीस्ट ये चीज अगर वो सही तरीके से कर पाता है, जैसे आपने बोला कि विथ कोऑर्डिनेशन विथ स्टेक होल्डर्स, इंपोर्टेंट स्टेक होल्डर्स की जिसके थ्रू आप अब सिस्टम डेवलप करना चाहते हो, तो उसके बारे में आपके क्या थॉट्स है?
It's very, very complex. Even we need to find solutions at a number of fronts. We have discussed multiple times, let's say, the issue of players of Indian origin, right? And when we started talking about this a while back, with our friends at Sports Kabri at the time, others have reacted. A state like Bangladesh, which is in transition, is able to get Hamza Chaudhary. Pakistan doesn't have a federation. The PFF is being run by a normalization committee. They can get players of origin into the system. We can't. And this is not a problem since yesterday or since last week or something. This is a problem, has been a problem that Mr. Das Munsi and Praful Patel themselves as central government ministers were not able to change. But the problem is, and with all that is happening in the world, we have to be honest about the reputation that Indians have had around the world. It has gone down the drain in the last few months, right? So these are all realities. Is what are we doing? And football is a soft power, which the Indian government till today hasn't understood. They talk with foreign leaders of governments about cricket, about people who don't even know what cricket is. I was speaking 2 days ago with someone senior at a higher level here in Germany with the corporate, and he runs their sports business. He says, cricket though is big, and then hockey is big, and then you don't have any other sport. So then I have to tell that person the realities. Yes, cricket is huge, massive, by far the biggest sport. But hockey, who cares about hockey? Right? Hockey India League chal raha hai. How many people are watching Hockey India League? Football in India is the second biggest sport, despite all the problems. Indian football has been there, is there, will be there. The question is, will we fall lower or will we go up? Because my question to all these people also, we have the right to criticize the AIFF. What are you yourself doing for Indian football? I know what I've done in the last 27 years, right? Some things people know, a lot of things people will never know, and I don't need to tell people. I know what I've done. But those people who talk about ye karna hai, wo karna hai, what are you doing yourself? And don't come me with the thing of infrastructure and money and all that stuff. In most part of the world, money and infrastructure is always a problem. And still, players are coming up. Why do I not have a player, I don't know, a Sadio Mane or whatever? Didier Drogba. We can name XYZ player from Africa or from some country in Central America or even from other parts in Asia.
एग्जैक्टली सर दैट इज द वेरी वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट पॉइंट कि भाई आपके यहाँ पे चैलेंजेस, जैसे आपने बोला कि चाहे वो इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर का चैलेंज हो, चाहे वो पैसों का चैलेंज हो, चाहे वो आपके सिस्टम डेवलप करने का चैलेंज हो, लेकिन दैट्स वाई तो आपको यहाँ पे लाया गया है सिस्टम में कि आप उस चीज को डेवलप करो, आप वो यहाँ पे लेके आओ। आपको अगर यहाँ पे गोल्डन प्लेट पे सजा के दे देंगे कि भाई सारी चीजें है, तो फिर तो भाई कोई भी बैठ जाए, क्या फर्क पड़ता है? वाई वी नीड ए विजनरी, जैसे आपने बोला प्रेसिडेंट हो या फिर एनी अदर ऑफिशियल्स इन इन एआईएफएफ, कि जो भाई यहाँ पे उस चीज को विथआउट यू कैन विथ लिमिटेड रिसोर्सेज उस चीज को डेवलप कर पाए, एंड वहां से आपका फुटबॉल डेवलपमेंट हो पाए। सो एग्जैक्टली आपने सही बोला। हाउ डू यू सी कि भाई क्या ये कल्याण चौबे के अगेंस्ट जो ये 20+ स्टेट एफ सोच रहे हैं, जिसमें बता मतलब एज पर द रिपोर्ट ये बोल रहे हैं कि भाई सम ऑफ देम आर करंटली जो रूलिंग गवर्नमेंट है उसका भी हिस्सा है, एंड एज वी ऑल नो कल्याण चौबे भी उसके हिस्सा है। सो डू यू सी कि भाई यहाँ पे अगर चेंज होता है, देन देयर माइट बी अ यू कैन से कि अ बिगर प्रोफाइल, देन कल्याण चौबे माइट कम एज प्रेसिडेंट, बिकॉज जैसे आपको भी पता है कि ये होता है सारा सेटिंग से ही, इसमें कोई फेयर वेयर इलेक्शन सिर्फ नाम के इलेक्शन होते हैं, डिसाइडेड हो जाता है। जैसे कल्याण चौबे भी आए थे, नो वन नोज बिफोर द इलेक्शन कि भाई कल्याण चौबे आएगा, एंड सडनली गवर्नमेंट ने उनको यहाँ पे रूलिंग पार्टी जो है उन्होंने उनको डिसाइड किया, एंड बाकी स्टेट अफेयर्स के साथ सेटिंग कर लिया, एंड उसी के फेवर में सारे वोट पड़े। सो हाउ डू यू सी दैट फैक्टर?
See, Hiren, the first thing is, amongst these 20 state affairs who have come forward and the other state affairs who are around, let's say the 34 bodies who potentially could vote, some will say to both sides, yeah, I'm with the president, and then they will say to the other side, I'm against the president. Right? That is the thing. Why are these people not moving forward? They're looking for someone senior to potentially push the agenda, be it someone senior of the BJP. Praful Patel's name will surely crop up at some stage somewhere, that maybe people will try and rally around Praful Patel, which would be interesting if he actually makes somehow of a comeback. It is a very, very, very murky scenario. Because as you rightly said, last time around, if you see, Baichung wanted to be president, Shaji wanted to be president, Subrata Datta wanted to be president, this guy wanted to be that way, multiple people wanted to be president. Kalyan Chaubey was never in the picture, and suddenly Kalyan Chaubey comes, appears, Shaji becomes secretary, bas khatam ho gaya. And if any one of these state affairs went to courts or even went to AFC and FIFA, and questioned the legitimacy of the ongoing regime, I think they would be removed, and I think an NOC would be implemented. National normalization committee, an NC would be
Committee.
put in by FIFA. Because we have another problem, and that is the Supreme Court, right? Kalyan Chaubey has also been saying, listen, we would love to do elections, but because the Constitution is Supreme Court, we can't do it. That is also the reason that which was Profil was using it. But the point is, which I still don't understand, is why doesn't the AIFF, through its lawyers, go to the Supreme Court of India and tell the Supreme Court of India and explain to the Supreme Court of India, this matter is out of your jurisdiction. Right? That is the thing that I still have not understood. I told the COA in 2022, please tell the Supreme Court of India that you sitting here and deciding things is against every law of sport. A COA cannot be implemented in a national sports body. IOA, same mess. P2 Usha saying something, then the other side. And the problem is, sadly, this is also a thing. There are people who've been fighting for the last 15 years. You know what? Former athletes need to come into sporting bodies. With all due respect to athletes, show me your qualification to sit on a sporting body and then you can come in. Just saying, listen, you can be the best. You think the Brazilian FA would have never put a Pele into their body. Argentina would have never put Maradona into the body, right? But you see the other side of the things. You see a Franz Beckenbauer, you see a Johann Cruyff, right? You see a Sebastian Coe, for example, who most probably will be IOC president, a former athlete, and is running the Athletics Federation. So you need to know your things. You can't just fall back and say, listen, I'm a great sports person. That's why I come into sports administration. This is just a proof that you need people who understand sports and ensure the interest of sports run a sporting body. The AIFF at the moment is a very, very good example. I am not saying that everybody has bad intentions. There are some people who have got good intentions who are working in there, but they are not the right people to run the system. Because the system, as I said, at the top, ideally you have a president who is politician, whatever he is, but has influence and clout. I think the AIFF needs a CEO, and you need a secretary general or general secretary, whatever you want to call it, run the administration and let the CEO work on the future of Indian football and also keep up the relationships. It cannot be that
That's very important.
years, there's no relationship between Reliance and between AIFF at the moment.
I think the biggest failure for me for Kalyan Chaubey's regime is that the relation with the important stakeholders of the Indian football ecosystem, particularly the clubs and the FSTL. I think उनके साथ जो उनका रिलेशन है वो कहीं पे मतलब उस लेवल का हमें नहीं देखने को मिला जो कि प्रीवियसली था. सो आई थिंक विदाउट दैट कोऑर्डिनेशन, आप अभी भी देखिए कि हमने जैसे इंडिया अंडर 20 केस में देखा कि क्लब्स आर नॉट रिलीजिंग द प्लेयर. आप देखिए कि आपकी प्लानिंग उस हिसाब से रही है कि भाई यहाँ पे आपका उस तरह का कोऑर्डिनेशन नहीं है. कल मैं देख रहा था ये आज सुबह ही ब्राजील अंडर 20 वर्सेस अर्जेंटीना अंडर 20 का मैच. सो आप देखिए कि वहां पे प्लेयर रिलीज हो रहे हैं कुछ जो उनके इंपोर्टेंट प्लेयर है क्लब के साथ. वो आपकी रिलेशनशिप से होगा. वो आप एज पर द रूल बुक चाहोगे तो भाई ऑब्वियसली क्लब रख देगा कि भाई आउटसाइड फीफा विंडो है, how can we release the player?
No. But Hiren, there's one misunderstanding with this whole under-20 release issue. There is no FIFA window for youth.
Okay.
There is no FIFA window for youth. First. Secondly, I take an example from the under-17 World Cup in 2017. Jadon Sancho was part of England under-17.
Yes.
Borussia Dortmund called him back for Champions League and for Bundesliga.
Yes.
So all this big talk of people, sorry Hiren, we also in our space of this social media of creator space, lack of knowledge and understanding. Sorry to say that straight away. What the AIFF has done in this case of picking the younger age groups and saying, listen, SAF is coming up. You know that you're going to lose, but you give these boys an exposure of a level that they normally wouldn't get. There's a reality check happening. That 6-1 against Syria was a clear-cut reality check. It could have been worse. Right? So my point is that these other teams are preparing for the AFC Under-20 Asian Championship. right? Sorry, Asian Cup. But ask Indonesia if they have their European-based European-based players already in this tournament playing. They will get these players released short notice before the tournament. The best players will not even play. Did Yamil Yamal play for under 17, under 19, under 21, or under 23 for Spain? He straight went for the senior team. If you have that kind of a talent, you don't play in the junior teams. So therefore, that is also reality. Again, this is another reality where fans are fighting for something which doesn't work. Do I want, let's say, a Kuru to play this tournament, or do I want a Kuru to play ISL? Do I want a Kipgen to be playing this, or rather playing a few minutes of ISL? So that is what, So our problem is that we also need to know. I think our biggest problem in Indian football, sorry to say, is knowledge. When I see people discussing referee decisions without knowing the basic rules of football, what are we discussing?
रेफरी का तो मैं आज वो किसने हमारे जो साथ हो क्या बोलते कि यूएसए से वो मोहन बगान के फैन में नाम भूल गया, सुस्मित भाई, उन्होंने ट्वीट किया कि नॉर्वे के यहाँ पे वापस ले रहा है वीआर.
Yeah, I've worked in Norway. Norway, the system was against, or was always against VR. And they know the referees will make mistakes again. They're fine with it. Hiren, if anybody thinks that if the day you put VR in, that your problems will be solved, because there are a lot of these 50-50 things. Interestingly, the Jovanovic red card has not been pulled back by the AIFF.
AIFF, yes.
BFC came out today with a statement about it, which undermines, because Manolo was mentioning Parth Jindal. That shows that Parth doesn't understand. Then my question to Parth is a simple one. Parth, you have spent a lot of money as JSW, right? I don't know if anybody else has spent as much as JSW in the last few years on youth and grassroots as JSW has. What talent are you producing? So your priorities are wrong. So you're focusing on infrastructure and everything, but you're not focusing on what is the most important thing, which is coaching. You're coaching, and if you don't have the competition, this is what I said yesterday. People were asking me. I said yesterday very, very clearly. If you don't have the competition, if the AIFF is unable to do it, if the state FA is unable to do it, you're running the team for most of the year anyway. Create your own competitions. In a city like Bangalore, you have 8, 10, 12 teams. Make a competition on your own. Let the kids come to those 40 matches. In India, everybody is waiting for the next higher authority to do something for you.
हाँ, ये सही बात है ये. बट आई थिंक ये सही बात है आपकी कि भाई क्लब वेट करते हैं कि भाई एएफएफ कुछ कर देगा, स्टेट एफएस को कॉम्पिटिशन लाएगा तब हम खेलेंगे.
Infrastructure, Hiren, infrastructure. Nobody is building their own stadium. Has this question ever been asked? Take Jamshedpur FC and Tata Nagar out, because that is Tata City. I take that out. Is anybody else building a proper football stadium in India who owns a football team? Simple question. Not happening. I was at Round Glass in 2017, 18, 19 when owner Sunny Singh said he wanted to have infrastructure, right? And money is not the issue. Round Glass Punjab, as Punjab FC is playing in Delhi because they don't have an ISL capable stadium in and around Chandigarh. This is the reality, Hiren, of Indian football in 2025. Right? We talk about VR, who will invest? They talk about 25. I say it's a 40 crore investment. Every year, every club will have to invest another crore. They will. This is the funny one, Hiren. They will not invest that money themselves, but they will crib when the referee does a mistake.
हाँ, मैं मेरा क्वेश्चन वही था सर. मैं पिछले कुछ दिनों से, मतलब पिछले एक महीने से आप देख रहे हैं कि भाई जैसे रेफरी का काफी ज्यादा डिस्कशन हर एक मैच के बाद हो रहा है. तो मेरा भी क्वेश्चन वही था. मैं भी लोगों फैंस से कल 2-3 दिन पहले वही पूछ रहा था कि लोग सबको वीआर लाने की बात कर रहा है, लेकिन द बिग क्वेश्चन एंड ओनली द हर्डल जो कि है वीआर लाने में, वो है कि भाई पैसा कौन देगा। आप ये पूछो ना कि क्लब बात कर रहे हैं, फैंस बात कर रहे हैं, एएफएफ में भी बात कर रहे हैं कि हाँ भाई ये होना चाहिए, बट वो विल पुट इन दी मनी। पैसा कौन देगा वो? अगर आपको क्वेश्चन आंसर मिल गया तो आपका वीआर का आंसर मिल जाएगा कि भाई कब आएगा वीआर इन।
100%.
तो सिंपल सी चीज ये है। किशोर दास इज सेइंग प्लीज मेक अ मास पिटिशन बाय कंटेंट क्रिएटर्स ऑफ फुटबॉल इन सुप्रीम कोर्ट अगेंस्ट एएफएफ फॉर नॉट एबल टू रन फेडरेशन इन प्रॉपर वे, नो प्रेजेंट नो फ्यूचर।
Hiren, the Supreme Court is part of the problem, not of the solution in this case. Na?
सोल्यूशन।
If the Supreme Court had at least looked at the Constitution and said, okay, this is the Constitution, either it is okay or we get banned. No option.
बट
And at the
इसमें सर नहीं,
the moment the Constitution is in there, we are going to get banned. The second the Constitution is cleared, and it would bus ban हो जाएगा.
बट सर मेरे को ये चीज समझनी है कि जो पब्लिक स्टेटमेंट दिए गए हैं फ्रॉम एन नागेश्वर राव, जो कि सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने फॉर्मर जज को अपॉइंट किया है टू ओवरलुक दिस न्यू ड्राफ्ट कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन, उसने ये बोला है कि यहाँ पे मीडिया स्टेटमेंट्स में कि भाई हमने ये एएफसी को भी यहाँ पे या फिर फीफा को यहाँ पे वो करके बनाया है। सो या तो वो झूठ बोल रहे हैं या तो उन्होंने उनको रिव्यू करवाया है। सो व्हाट इज दिस, जो ये नया ड्राफ्ट कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन है, व्हाट इज दिस सीन विथ इट, कि अगर वो इंप्लीमेंट होता है स्ट्रेट अवे बैन और
straight away ban. Straight away ban. Hiren, there is no point of discussion. The Constitution being created keeps, be it Indian Olympic Association, be it AIFF, or be it any other sporting body, you want to have some government control on it. That is third-party influence. Khatam. I don't need to be a scholar, a legal guy. Yeah? Right? If you look at also the way that the government is trying to set up pay structures for national sports federations,
फेडरेशन,
you can't do it over one brush, right? The government has been promoting Kho so heavily, right? A big TV anchor said, rather than cricket, an imperial sport, we should be promoting Kho. So मैं क्या बोलूं? What will happen to this country? The only sport to start off with where you should put a lot of money and emphasis, and there's only one sport, and we're talking about it, that is football. There's only one global sport.
ट्रू। बट ये बात गवर्नमेंट को समझाने वाला बंदा चाहिए ना हमें प्रेसिडेंट पे कि गवर्नमेंट को ये बात समझा पाए कि व्हाट इज दी सॉफ्ट पावर ऑफ फुटबॉल एंड उसका क्या इंपोर्टेंस है, एंड उससे इंडिया को कैसे यहाँ पे ओवरऑल, नॉट ओनली एज ए इंटरनेशनल लेवल बट ओवरऑल एज ए इन टर्म्स ऑफ द इकोनॉमी वाइज और ऑल द अदर एस्पेक्ट में भी कैसे हेल्प हो सकता है। सो आपको मतलब मैं ये नहीं बोलूंगा कि एग्जैक्ट आप बताओ, बट हाउ डू यू सी दिस होल मोशन थिंग, एंड क्या आपको लगता है कि पास होगा कि नहीं होगा, कि इससे पहले ही अरेंज कर लेंगे कल्याण चौबे विथ इज पॉलिटिकल लिंक्स कि भाई यहाँ पे जो भी स्टेट अफेयर्स अगेंस्ट है उसको कुछ यहाँ पे लॉलीपॉप दे देंगे कि हम यहाँ पे आपके वहाँ पे एक कर देंगे और उस तरह से मैनेज कर लेंगे। हाउ डू यू सी इट, बिकॉज ये स्टेट अफेयर्स भी तो ऐसे ही है ना कि वो लोग यहाँ पे अगर अभी अगेंस्ट गए हैं, मैंने जो स्टोरी सुनी है यहाँ पे यही है कि जब 2022 में कल्याण चौबे को लाने की बात हुई तब मोस्ट ऑफ द स्टेट अफेयर्स को गवर्नमेंट के एक मिनिस्टर की ओर से ऐसे ही कन्विंस किया गया था कि आप इनको सपोर्ट कीजिए, आपको आगे आने वाले टाइम में गवर्नमेंट की ओर से इन चीजों में यहाँ पे हेल्प मिलेगी। सो फिर से ऐसा सिनारियो आप देख रहे हैं कि बिफोर द कॉन्फिडेंस ऑफ मोशन यहाँ पे इनको सेटल डाउन कर लिया जाएगा या फिर लाने दिया जाएगा, क्योंकि सम ऑफ देम आर विथ एनडीए गवर्नमेंट जो स्टेट अफेयर्स अगेंस्ट पे है, एंड देन फिर से कोई नया इस तरह का जो मोहरा है या फिर प्यादा जो हम बोलते हैं चेस में उस तरह का लाया जाएगा।
Even there are 2-3 things. One, as I said earlier, I'm not sure if those 20 so-called state associations are really together on this, because The state associations also look at themselves. The individuals look at themselves. First thing. Second, this thing can only be successful if it is being led by someone senior as a politician, right? Either it's someone senior in the BJP who is going to back this, or let's say Praful Patel, who's been dragged into this conversation. But if I understand right, so far Praful Patel has no thoughts about coming back to football, and I think is rather aiming to become a central government minister. That's the reality, right? Because if the state associations, the way they're structured and run, and if they try to do it, they're not powerful enough, right? And someone or the other will break this, whatever coalition or whatever you want to call it. And it coming out with the way it's come, and it's come from someone senior in regard to Dhiman Sarkar, breaking the story in Hindustan Times. Dhiman is one of my oldest friends in Indian football in regard to journalists. And there is 100% some truth to the story. Otherwise, Dhiman would not write it.
इंटरेस्टिंग बट एक एक फैंस के दिमाग में ये भी क्वेश्चन आता है कि सपोजली अगर ये हो गया देन जो जिस तरह से वो स्टोरी में या पढ़ेंगे अगर आप तो इट माइट बी पॉसिबिलिटीज कि जो पहले लोग थे वो भी मतलब सेम पीपल अगेन ट्राई टू कम इनटू द पावर तो फिर तो हालत
see the question is at the moment is again Shaji will play some game in the background 100%, more than even I think Praful Patel, right? But the question is, there are others. He's got friends, he's got enemies, and I said there is the largest chunk of people of these state associations, they care about themselves, right? So that is the danger that anybody wants to go in. And if I my favorite example from 2022 was Baichung. Baichung should have known the night before the election that he has no chance, right? Bhutia should have known that he had no chance. He had, I think, 3 people said, we will vote for you. And one finally did, right? So if Bhutia was smart, Bhutia could have gone out with his head held high and said, okay, I tried, but now was not the time. If he was smart. Now, interesting part with Kalyan's only electoral win was AIFF. Otherwise, these 2 ex-footballers have lost every election that they participated
in. True.
That's also reality.
That's their reality. Yes, absolutely. True.
So that's and to answer Kishore's question, no, there was no conspiracy. What was Baichung offering to them? There was not Baichung. What did Baichung offer? Baichung couldn't offer anything. If Baichung had gone to the right people to support him, he most probably would be president now.
I mean, कल्याण चौबे से तो नहीं कल्याण चौबे से तो ऑब्वियसली अगर आप देखें तो फॉर्मर फुटबॉलर की लिस्ट में तो ऑब्वियसली बाइचुंग इज वे अहेड एंड फैंस की आईज में भी मतलब वो एक ऐसा बंदा है कि जिसपे लोग एटलीस्ट स्टार्टिंग में एज अ प्रेसिडेंट बन के वो क्या काम करते हैं वो अलग चीज है. But compared to Kalyan Chaubey, obviously,
it would have been the same. Hiren, it would have been the same. With all due respect, Baichung, sorry, if you don't have the right people to run the federation, if you don't have the right people to actually run it, it is no point of. It doesn't matter. Same thing will happen if Sunil runs it. I've been hearing so many podcasts of Sunil where you realize that there's a lot of things that he knows, but there's a lot of things which, he doesn't know, right? So that's the reality. Right, and that is something. Sports management is the key area in this. You have to manage a sport, macro, micro, and a country like India is very, very complex, very, very complex.
But इसमें एक क्वेश्चन ये है कि जो कल्याण चौबे एज अ प्रेसिडेंट जब बने तब वो सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने उस टाइम पे जो नया कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन था उसका इलेक्शन वाला पार्ट उठा के इस पर उस हिसाब से इलेक्शन करवाए थे। तो अब मान लीजिए कि अभी यहाँ पे नो कॉन्फिडेंस मोशन आता है कल्याण चौबे के, अगर पास हो जाता है देन जो नया इलेक्शन होगा उसमें भी जो प्रेसिडेंट बनेगा वो फॉरवर्ड प्लेयर ही होगा या फिर कोई भी बन सकता है?
Question is what does it say in the constitution? The old constitution said that people of the executive committee or even in the key body of the AIFF need to have worked for a certain period of time, and within the sporting system. Kalyan Chaubey actually, in my opinion, illegally became president of the AIFF, if I really want to take it, because the government at that time was more interested to get all of this out of the way to ensure India hosts the under-17 Women's World Cup. That was the whole thing. If the under-17 Women's World Cup didn't happen, it would not have, and nothing would have moved. And the reality is also that in India, nobody still seems to realize that India was banned on August 15th. This cannot be a bigger slap than anything else. 15th of August,
Independence Day.
FIFA bans you. That should be an embarrassment enough. And that is, I know from people that in the government and the sports ministry still they haven't understood that. Sorry.
Akshata is also here. Hello. And
we will not talk about
it,
Arne Slot.
but she asked the direct question: is it going to happen?
My counter question to Akshata is: do you think it will happen?
Are you going to see a new president?
उसको पूछो, मैडम को पूछो.
हाँ.
I honestly, I don't bet, luckily, and I wouldn't bet on any side on this because it is AIFF. I honestly, this one, again, first of all, it could also be a planted story, right? Media ko bolo 20
possible
state associations, right? That is one. Secondly, Akshata asking the dangerous questions. If the right person is chosen, yes. The question is not if.
But sir,
if
possibility
happens,
of
hey, there are 2-3 people who I could dare.
हाँ, but the possibilities of that is seeing the current scenario, मेरे को तो वो कम लगती है कि अगर ये possible होता है and if new election happen then right president आने के chances मेरे को तो कम लगते हैं. If happen, that is the best thing that could happen to Indian football.
I think it is possible, Hiren. Let me be very honest with you. I think it is possible because I think there are characters, but the point is, how dirty will this whole election process be? That's the main problem, right?
मेन सर क्वेश्चन वही है ना कि ये जो हमने बीसीसीआई का भी हमने इलेक्शन देखा हुआ है आफ्टर दैट सीईओ कमेटी एंड जो नए रूल्स के हिसाब से जिस तरह से इलेक्शन वहां पे भी हुए, तो वहां पे भी आप देखिए कि अरेंजमेंट के थ्रू ही होते हैं. एंड आप देखिए कि बाकी जो सारे फेडरेशन है उसके भी इलेक्शन उसी तरह से होते हैं. तो इसमें उस हिसाब से प्रिडिक्ट करना बहुत मुश्किल है कि भाई पीछे किसका कनेक्शन कहाँ पे लिंक हो रहा है एंड उसकी बात बन जाए. वो आप जज नहीं कर पाते कि जैसे अभी लोग नाम यहाँ पे रख रहे हैं कि भाई ये भाई चुंगुटिया और ये सब, और उस टाइम पे भी 2022 में भी जैसे आपने बताया कि 3-4 लोग रेस में थे एंड सडनली नो आउट ऑफ नोवेयर कल्याण चौबे पॉप अप. सो सिचुएशन एग्जैक्टली सेम ही होगी इस बार भी कि नाम कोई भी चल रहे होंगे लेकिन
पीछे it will be worse. It will be worse because the first question is there a no confidence, So that is the first point. Will they be able, will they be able to remove the president? First question. Because as long as the vote doesn't happen, you don't know which way the whole story is going.
Exactly.
At this moment, I know that most state associations, are unhappy with the president and his running of the federation. That is a fact. But that doesn't mean that they will vote out the president. I remember Vijay Mallya, Samir Thapar of JCT, Anand Mahindra came together to remove Mr. Dasmunchi. Mr. Dasmunchi stayed. Even the night before, even the night before, he was gone.
एग्जैक्टली सर,
समय
मेरा
कहाँ
पॉइंट
था?
वही है। मेरा पॉइंट वही है कि ये जो स्पोर्ट फेडरेशन के इलेक्शन होते हैं इस तरह के, इसमें लास्ट मोमेंट तक चीजें मतलब क्या बोलते हैं कि वो अनक्लियर रहती है कि कहाँ पे किसका बिहाइंड द सीन वो यहाँ पे क्लिक कर गया, उसका चल जाएगा वो। आप चाहे आप इन फ्रंट आपको कैसा भी सिनेरियो दिख रहा हो कि ये जीत रहा है, वॉट एवर द थिंग, बट चीजें बिहाइंड द सीन कुछ भी यहाँ पे चेंज हो सकती है। अक्षता इज आस्किंग कि ऑल्सो कैन दिस कॉज फीफा इंटरवेंशन, एंड रेनिल पिक के
Um,
बोल रहे कि कैन टेटे बिकम द प्रेसिडेंट।
anyone can become the president, and Akshada's question to answer, if it takes a normal course, yes. The question is also, will Kalyan not go back and say, listen, Supreme Court though has not given us a new constitution, that's why I can't hold the election. He will try to delay the whole process, but the question is he in a situation to do that? You know, so to me, anything is possible. Again, this is Indian football, Hiren. Anything is possible in a positive and in a negative way, and therefore we'll have to wait and see क्या होता है.
एग्जैक्टली। ऋतिक इज सेइंग प्रफुल्ल को लोग एक बार गाली देते थे, कल्याण को 2 बार गाली देते थे, जो नया आएगा उसको 4 गाली पड़ेगा। अगर इस
It
ऐसे
it depends.
ऐसे ही काम करेंगे तो हाँ, एग्जैक्टली। व्हाट अबाउट दिस सर, आपने जैसे बोला कि अभी यहाँ पे सीओ चल रहा है, ये तमिलनाडु एफए में तो मतलब ये 5-6 कितने 2018-19 से वो हाई कोर्ट ने अपॉइंटेड बॉडी चल रही है, तो उसमें फीफा इंटरवेंट क्यों नहीं कर पाया? स्टेट अफेयर्स में नहीं कर पाता क्या वो
State affairs is an AIFF matter, na?
मैटर? ओके। शिवम भाई, वो स्टेट अफेयर्स उनको रीड क्यों लाना चाहते हैं, उसको निकालना क्यों चाहते हैं कि भाई अपना यहाँ पे क्या बोलते हैं कि बेनिफिट उन यहाँ पे नहीं हो रहा है। मैं नहीं बोल रहा कि सारे ऐसे हैं, बट मोस्ट ऑफ देम आर विद दैट इंटेंशन कि भाई उनके इच्छाएं फुलफिल, उनके पर्सनल, जैसे सर ने बोला कि पर्सनल कोई भी जो स्टेट अफेयर्स का प्रेसिडेंट या फिर सेक्रेटरी जनरल होगा, वो पहले अपना सोचेगा, बाद में उस स्टेट अफेयर्स का सोचेगा कि भाई इससे ये जो प्रेसिडेंट है या फिर एफएफ से स्टेट अफेयर्स को क्या फायदा हुआ, क्या नुकसान हुआ, वो पहले सोचेगा कि भाई अपना कुछ फायदा हुआ कि नहीं हुआ। तो उस बेसिस पे वो चलते हैं भाई। तो ये वाली चीज है। बाकी देखते हैं क्या होता है कल्याण चौबे की ये स्टोरी में। आई थिंक अभी तो जस्ट यहाँ पे क्या बोलते हैं कि एक रिपोर्ट ही आई है, पहले नोटिस सर्व करें उसके बाद हम ज्यादा इसके ऊपर बातचीत कर सकते हैं कि भाई हाँ कुछ होगा कि नहीं होगा। अभी तो नोटिस भी सर्व नहीं हुई है, सो दैट इज द फर्स्ट स्टेप जो कि इस डेवलपमेंट में होगी कि अगर मोर देन 12 मेंबर एसोसिएशन अगर नोटिस पुट करते हैं, देन नो कॉन्फिडेंस मोशन आएगा, एंड देन वो मीटिंग और वो सारी चीजें होगी। उसके बाद सारी डिस्कशन हम कर सकते हैं कि भाई कौन हो सकता है वो सारी चीजें। लास्ट में थोड़ा सा सर बाकी इंडियन फुटबॉल के बारे में बात कर लेते हैं हम, एंड देन वी विल रैप अप। अच्छा, Uditya Kumar Kashyap is saying you have to understand how bad this situation is when even the corrupt state affairs had to come out against Kalyan. Exactly, देखिए at the moment Indian football is hit the rock bottom. देयर इज ए नथिंग लेफ्ट। आप बोल सकते हैं कि सारी चीजें आपकी अनसर्टेन है। चाहे वो आप देखिए कि एफएसडीएल के साथ कॉन्ट्रैक्ट देख लीजिए, आपका आईएसएल का फ्यूचर अनसर्टेन है, आपकी सारी यूथ टीमें सारे एशियन कॉम्पिटिशन से क्वालिफाई नहीं कर पाई है, आपकी वुमेन्स टीम स्ट्रगल कर रही थी, आपकी मेंस टीम स्ट्रगल कर रही है। सो इन एवरी फ्रंट वी आर एट दी रॉक बॉटम। तो उसमें तो कोई मतलब दोहरा ही नहीं है कि भाई पिछले 2 साल में जो इंडियन फुटबॉल का कंपेयर टू प्रफुल्ल पटेल रिजिम जो फुटबॉल का लेवल था वो ऑब्वियसली पूरा ही नीचे आ चुका है, एंड जीरो हो चुका है। सो इन एग्जैक्टली भाई मनोज मार्केस इज सेइंग इंडियन फुटबॉल एट द मोमेंट इज इन एज अ डेड। सो ये वाली चीज है। अच्छा, किशोर दास भाई सर आपको बुला रहे हैं एएफएफ में।
Thank you and no. Big thank you and no. No, I took a different example yesterday. I said, and Manolo was part of the conversation. I think he remembers yesterday. I was saying that I was there when Sepp Blatter, as the then FIFA president, spoke about the sleeping giant. Now, what has happened? Sleeping giant has woken up. I was sleepwalking. Now has taken 2 very heavy sleeping pills and has gone back to sleep.
ये मेरे को ये किसने बोला था, ये स्लीपिंग जाइंट वाला, जो ये इंडियन लोगों को, ये जो जिन लोगों ने ये क्या बोलते हैं कि चश्मा लगा दिया है कि इंडिया इज ए स्लीपिंग जाइंट, फुटबॉल में स्लीपिंग जाइंट, इसने ही भाई मतलब क्या बोलते हैं कि सारा वो क्या वो कर दिया है कि भाई हाँ हम स्लीपिंग जाइंट है। ये स्लीपिंग जाइंट जग ही नहीं रहा है,
No,
कोमा में भी नहीं है।
Hiren, I was in the room when the FIFA president said it. No? It was in South Africa in Joburg, and he made a reference, and he was right at the time. Right, the point was that
हम्म,
again, India. We all know India has a potential, right?
हम्म।
It's just that that potential needs to be tapped, and that is not happening.
ये तुहिन कुमार का जो क्वेश्चन है, जिसके बारे में मैंने भी एक कल परसों हमने बात की थी, ये मतलब हाईकोर्ट में जो लोगों को अपॉइंट करता है वो भी मतलब वहाँ की जो स्टेट यूथ लीग है उसमें एज फ्रॉड हो रहा है, उसके बारे में कुछ नहीं कर रहा है। सो व्हाट डू यू एक्सपेक्ट, मतलब आप देखिए कि जो लोगों
See,
की
the
उम्मीद
people
होती है
who
कि
are
सुप्रीम कोर्ट
crying
हाई
out,
कोर्ट से।
those
हम्म,
people are crying out about ye ho raha hai, wo ho raha hai. They themselves are cheating in these age
हाँ,
tournaments. So what are we doing,
हाँ,
right? And even big entities have been suspended, right? Uh, uh, that is a problem. Our problem is at all levels that we need the right people to run it. Otherwise, nothing will happen. And again, I always say, sort out youth, grassroots, sort out youth football, sort out especially coaching, competitions, and scouting. You sort this out, give it some time, let the right people manage it, things will get better. But they will not get better
बेटर।
tomorrow. It will take time.
हम्म, हम्म,
Because I also say, because people say, "Are nepotism, ye ho raha hai, wo ho raha hai," talented players don't get a chance. If someone is really, really talented, that player will not be left behind because whoever is coaching or managing will realize the talent of this or XYZ will give that player a chance. So
हम्म।
my concern is, why does India not produce at least one world class talent?
हम्म। दुसान का सस्पेंशन का क्या सीन है सर, कि उन्होंने नॉर्थ ईस्ट के सामने खेला एंड देन कल के
See,
मैच में
I,
अवेलेबल नहीं
I'll
था।
I'll I'll tell you an example from season one of ISL. So we signed Nicholas Anelka from West. So sorry, we signed him on a free transfer, but the last club was West Bromwich Albion. At the time, the ISL was so high profile that the Premier League sent a letter to the AIFF saying that he still had a 3-match suspension with West Brom. So ऐसे होता
हम्म,
है, right?
हम्म,
Now, what happened here is that the Hungarian FA did not inform AIFF fast enough, and his
हम्म।
suspension didn't happen in the first match, it happened in the second match. That's on the Hungarian FA. So, therefore, okay. Lucky for the Blasters,
अच्छा, ओके।
sorry, unlucky for Northeast, but lucky for East Bengal. So,
नॉर्थ ईस्ट। हम्म,
it's a non-starter of an issue. It's a problem of federation to federation information.
ओके, ओके। प्रसन्नजीत विश्वास इज सेइंग फीफा एफएफ एकेडमी टीम लॉस्ट टू मोहन बागान अंडर 17, टेल मी क्या ऐसे उखालिया बना के एकेडमी से क्या होगा, स्कूल टूर्नामेंट स्ट्रक्चर को स्ट्रॉन्ग करना चाहिए। व्हाट अबाउट दिस फीफा एएफएफ एकेडमी सर, बिकॉज़ इसका इतना बड़ा हाइप एएफएफ ने बनाया था, कल्याण चौबे एंड आर्सेन वेंगर आ गए थे। बट जिस तरह की खबरें आ रही है इस एकेडमी से, मतलब इट लुक अनदर यू कैन से कि मिसमैनेजमेंट और अ
Kiran,
फेलियर।
Kiran, I think with such an academy, you have to give it time.
हुँ,
My second question is, in this academy, are the boys under 17? So that's the first success,
एग्ज़ैक्टली।
because they lost to Mohun Bagan under 20. Huh? So
हाँ,
also the story for me is, jokingly we were discussing yesterday about India losing to Syria. Actually, India under 20 to bhi Syria ke sath under 20 खेला ना. So
हाँ।
so so
मैं भी ये बोल
so
रहा था कि हाँ, इसमें से कुछ प्लेयर
so
ऑब्वियसली वो 19-20 के होंगे ही होंगे। हाँ।
So, and I'm not sure, Manolo, I'm not sure if Ashish knows that, then it's fine. Again, with India, uh, I would not bet on any player being the right age, not even one player.
हुँ,
That is
ट्रू।
the problem of the system. And therefore, I know that they've taken precaution, but I don't, and that's why FIFA sent players away, right? FIFA sent X number of players away, did X number of trials, said quality ka issue, age quota issue. So FIFA is trying to work around it. Um, you know, so that's the thing. That's a problem with that. So, Manolo, maybe Sunil is closer to 50. No. Again, he's in his 40s, but I don't know how old Sunil is. So
Hmm.
that again, that
Uh,
makes it even worse. He's not 40; he's 40 plus.
Still
That
best.
actually, and that makes it even more embarrassing.
कल सर मैच में हम वही बात कर रहे थे कि जो यंगर जनरेशन आपकी आ रही है, द अंडर 17s 20s 23, दे आर लुकिंग, आई वुड से कि चलो कि आपके जो करंट क्रॉप ऑफ प्लेयर्स है उससे कोई मतलब एज सच एक्स्ट्रा ऑर्डिनरी थिंग्स उसमें नहीं दिखती, तो हाउ कैन वी एक्सपेक्ट कि भाई 4-5 साल बाद हम फुटबॉल में आगे बढ़ जाएंगे, क्योंकि यही प्लेयर आपके आईएसएल में खेलेंगे, यही प्लेयर आपके इसमें से कुछ प्लेयर में भी नेशनल टीम में खेलेंगे। सो विथाउट क्वालिटी इंप्रूवमेंट ये एएफएफ या फिर क्लब्स एकेडमीज इनको नहीं दिख रहा है कि भाई वी आर नॉट गोइंग एनीवेयर।
See, that my question is to the academy owners. No, that's why I said Parchinder should be answering. You know, so um, that's the question that needs to be asked. Right? Simple question. What is BFC doing? What is FC Goa doing? What are the others doing? What is Tata Football Academy doing? What is our friend Mr. Ranjit Bajaj doing with Minerva Academy? Punjab FC kya kar rahe? So this is the question. Northeast United, Aizawl, all these teams. What are you doing with your academies? What are you producing? Simple question. And the quality today is worse than it was 15 years ago. Not logical.
बट इन लोगों ने मान लीजिए कि कुछ इसमें से जैसे आपने नाम बोले कुछ एकेडमीज क्लब ने किया भी है यूथ लेवल पे इन्वेस्ट और कोचिस और लेके आए हैं, बट स्टिल क्यों नहीं वो प्लेयर आ रहे हैं? व्हाट इज द रीजन? मतलब कि क्या मतलब, चलो कोचिस की आप बात करते हो, बट कुछ तो मतलब बेसिक को सिखा ही रहे होंगे कि नहीं सिखा रहे हैं? क्या सीन है? क्योंकि
नहीं सिखा रहे
सारे
ना.
कोचिस तो ऐसे नहीं।
Tell me a complete Indian footballer that you see at the moment on the field. And even Sunil ko gali suna hai na Portugal mein. He said it openly. Na? The coach said you're not good enough.
Hmm.
Every match that I've seen in the last 2-3 years, every match, even matches which we won, we were technically worse than our opponents. We are
Hmm.
tactically worse than our opponents. Mentality to bhul jao. How can that be?
बट
Right? So
इसमें से कोई इसमें से कोई क्लब एकेडमी ने क्या अपने यूथ लेवल पे फॉरेन कोचेस नहीं लाए हैं?
अरे foreign जो लाते हो, are you spending really the money and do you give them what they need to be able to do? And then is one thing which you don't always have is competition,
हम्म।
right? This is something which you need. Therefore, we are suffering from that. So what are we doing now? Our problem is that we have glorified certain things of our past and don't want to move ahead and do the right things.
सही है ये। एंड लेट्स नॉट इवन गेट स्टार्टेड ऑन वुमेन्स फुटबॉल। वुमेन्स फुटबॉल में भी भाई
Even
अक्षता।
Hiren, 3 years ago at this time, India was hosting the AFC Women's Asian Cup.
अंडर
Huh?
एशियन कप, यस। हाँ।
Asian Cup. Huh?
हम्म।
With a World Cup around the corner.
हम्म।
India, only team which had to opt out of the tournament because of complete
तो
COVID outbreak.
कोविड।
Huh?
हाँ।
Pura team.
हम्म। हम्म।
So this then also asks the question about the players. And again, I'm not going to talk about it publicly, but I know enough stories what supposedly happened, didn't happen, and whatever. So if you did everything wrong, and India could have easily qualified for the World Cup. This is a home
हम्म।
tournament. It should not have been an issue.
हम्म।
We threw away that chance. So this is Indian football for you. And since then, in the last 3 years, despite IWL, this, that, everything, we've gotten worse. Why? Because also in the women's game, as in Europe, same problem. In North America, same problem. The women's game copies the mistakes of the men's game.
मेंस के।
And in India, even more. The key players in the IWL are the foreigners now, mainly Africans.
अफ्रीका, हाँ।
What happened in the 80s and 90s in the men's game?
हम्म। एंड वहां पे भी आप देखें ना, अब जो इंडियन वुमेन्स प्लेयर है उनका भी जो मोटिवेशन है वो आईडब्ल्यूएल ही है अब। दे आर नॉट लाइक मनीषा कल्याण की भाई वांट टू गो आउटसाइड एंड प्रूव देमसेल्व्स। आप इस सीजन आईडब्ल्यूएल में देखिए कि जो प्लेयर बाहर भी थी वो भी वापस आ गई, मोस्ट ऑफ देम आर
Because in India, you get paid more in the IWL than
मोर।
you get paid abroad. This
हम्म
is our problem. In India, everybody is overpaid.
हम्म
All of these should be playing, everyone should be playing without even getting 1 rupee. They don't deserve any money. No, no, Hiren, let's be honest.
सही
I
नहीं नहीं
think
सही
I recently, not recently, 3 months back at a conference, good friend of mine, former Germany hockey captain, was telling me, listen, I earned when he came to Ranchi to play hockey India League,
ओके।
not this edition, earlier edition, right? He
हाँ
said I
पहले जब
earned,
होता था।
he earned money in a way that he said I couldn't even dream of. He said, Germany mein, I pay my own kit, I pay for my hockey boots, I pay for my hockey rackets, I pay for everything. And he is a double Olympic gold medalist. So this shows you the problem of India and its society. Na? It's very materialistic, it's very capitalistic. Na?
हम्म
Here in Germany, across levels, at grassroots, most of the coaches are either freelancers or part-timers. There will be no full-time coaches.
हम्म
Right? It sounds harsh, but that's the problem. Our system is built in such a way, sab to paisa chahiye.
प्लेयर को भी चाहिए, जो लोग क्या बोलते कि स्पोर्ट्स फेडरेशन को रन कर रहे हैं या फिर क्लब में एज
Coaches,
ए कोच, सब सब उनको भी पता है कि विदाउट डिलीवरिंग रिजल्ट हाँ अपना काम तो चल रहा है। सो क्या दिक्कत है। सो आई थिंक यहाँ तक रखते हैं। एंड थैंक यू वेरी मच फॉर ज्वाइनिंग गाइस, थैंक यू वेरी मच फॉर ज्वाइनिंग सर। एंड आगे अगर इस स्टोरी में कुछ डेवलपमेंट होता है एंड कोई नोटिस यहाँ पे ऑफिशियली पुट आउट की जाती है अगेंस्ट कल्याण चौबे, देन वी विल टॉक अबाउट इट। एंड सर इज ऑल्सो कमिंग आई थिंक नेक्स्ट वीक इंडिया। सो वेलकम सर। एंड
thank
लेट
you.
होप सो कि आपको कुछ अच्छे मैचेस देखने को मिले। एंड उसके बाद हम बात करेंगे, एक लाइव करेंगे कि आपका एक्सपीरियंस कैसा रहा। एंड देन वी विल हैव मोर इनसाइड ऑन दोज थिंग्स। सो इसी तरह से गाइज जुड़ते रहिए हमारे साथ। एंड प्लीज डू चेक आउट अरुण फुट, टाइटल पे ही उसका हैंडल दिया गया है। सो लाइक सब्सक्राइब करना मत भूलिए। एंड टेक केयर, बाय बाय, जय हिंद, जय भारत।
Bye, everyone.